Game 1 of the MLB World Series goes tonight. We're talking NBA, NHL, and a couple of college football weekend bets. It's all happening, and I've got 9 bets coming your way. This is the Game Day Grind. What's up, sports fans? My name is Chris. Welcome back to Game Day Wagers, and thank you for watching a Friday episode of the Game Day Grind. Today is Friday, October 24th, and it's the day we've all been waiting for. Game 1 of the World Series goes tonight in Toronto at the Rogers Center, where the Blue Jays are going to be hosting the Los Angeles Dodgers. We're going to have 2 plays in that contest, along with some NBA, NHL, and Saturday college football action. It's all happening today, so if you guys are enjoying the content, please drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you guys are new around here. Let's not waste any time. We've got 9 bets to break down. So let's start with Game 1 of the World Series. To kick things off, we are starting at the Rogers Center. Game 1 of the World Series, the marquee event on today's sporting calendar. Look, I think there's something to be said about playing in your first World Series game in over 30 years. Obviously, the Jays went back-to-back in 92 and 93, so a return to the Fall Classic is going to have the Rogers Center rocking. The players are going to be up for the occasion, and I think we're going to see a nail-biter to open up this series, which is why I'm taking the Blue Jays plus 1.5 runs at minus 130. Yes, I know the Blue Jays are dogs in this fight and in this series altogether, but I do not think we are in for a Snell strikeout clinic tonight. The Blue Jays have been very good this year at keeping their strikeout rate down, and that's what Snell feasts off. If the Jays can be patient at the plate and make Snell live around the plate and come to them, they'll have plenty of opportunity to put up some runs and keep tonight's ball game close, potentially win this game outright. On the flip side, you have Trey Savage getting the ball in his World Series debut for the Blue Jays. We've seen 2 great performances from him and 1 not so great one. I know the Dodgers lineup is tough 1 through 9. They've got no holes in that lineup, but Savage has shown no signs of shying away from the big moments, and we'll know what kind of stuff he has early, with Ohtani leading off the top of the first. I think the Dodgers are a great team, but I don't think they're going to be able to pull away in this one. Give me the Blue Jays on their home turf to open up the World Series, plus 1.5 runs, minus 130. And if you guys are looking for a player prop in this specific game, look no further than Blake Snell's strikeout market. We're going to go under 6.5 strikeouts at minus 130. As I mentioned, the Jays make plenty of contact. They do a great job of avoiding the strikeout, and I'm not so sure we'll see Blake Snell go as deep as he has in his previous 2 playoff starts. I think these plays are very correlated, so we're going to bank on the Jays having plenty of success at the plate for Snell, and Snell not having his electric stuff in this contest. Take him under 6.5 Ks, minus 130. From the diamond, we are going to the ice. We're going to kick things off with the Columbus Blue Jackets playing host to the Washington Capitals. Look, there's something to be said about the Washington Capitals and their ability to defend. They are first in goals allowed, giving up just 1.86 goals per game, and that's largely due to the fact that they're limiting their opposition chances, giving up just 24.1 shots, which is top 4 in the league. Also, getting good goaltending helps as well. Logan Thompson has been one of the best goalies in the early exchanges so far. He's got a 4-1 record with a 1.61 GAA and a 927 save percentage. He's a gamer, and the Capitals are definitely reaping the rewards early. If you look at this team offensively, they need good goaltending to be good, given they're middle of the pack in terms of goals and are bottom 3rd in power play percentage and shooting percentage. A game against the Jackets is unlikely to boost those numbers, as the Jackets are stout defensively, giving up just 2.67 goals per game, but this is another team that relies on good goaltending to win games. Throw in the fact that this game is usually an under match. 3 of the last 4 have gone under 6.5 goals. I'll take this game to follow suit. Give me the under 6.5 goals. Columbus, Washington, minus 125. From Columbus, we're going out to Winnipeg. We're taking the Winnipeg Jets on the money line at minus 150 over the Calgary Flames. Look, right now, the Calgary Flames, they're not a good hockey team. They're 1-6-1 on the season, with only the San Jose Sharks being worse than them. They rate out among the worst teams on both ends of the ice, and right now, goaltending is a problem. It's AHL caliber, with Dustin Wolf posting a 1-5-1 record with an 875 save percentage. The last place the Flames want to go is into Winnipeg, a team that's rolling right now. Yes, they were shut out on home ice yesterday to the Seattle Kraken, but they've won 5 of their first 7 games. They're getting depth scoring, last game notwithstanding, and they've got good goaltending in Connor Hellebuyck. I would play this line up to minus 180 if I needed to, but at minus 150, I think we're getting a steal. Take the Jets on the money line, minus 150 in a bounce back effort. And finally, from Winnipeg, we're going back east to Buffalo. We're going to take the Toronto Maple Leafs on the money line at minus 125 over the Buffalo Sabres. Look, as a lifelong Leaf fan, I'm a bit worried about this team right now. They don't really have an identity, and the season could get away from them in a hurry if they're not careful. However, what I do believe is that they are better than the Buffalo Sabres. They've overcome the curse of losing in Buffalo every game they play on the road, having won 4 straight in the series, including 2 in a row in Buffalo. I trust this team to make it 5 in a row against the Sabres, who are not exactly a great offensive team. Give me the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight on the money line at -125. From the ice, we're going to the gridiron. We've got 2 college football games coming your way for Saturday's card. To kick things off, we are taking the Texas A&M Aggies -2.5 points over the LSU Tigers. Look, it should come as no surprise to anybody who follows me closely to know that I'm going to once again be fading the LSU Tigers. This is a team living off name recognition alone, and one that is quite frankly underwhelming on both sides of the football. LSU has dropped their last 2 of 3 games overall, and they've dropped to 20th in the AP poll. Their defensive unit, which is supposed to be the team's strength, just gave up 31 points to Vanderbilt, and quite frankly, I expect a similar result here against an explosive Aggies side. If the Aggies can keep their foot on the gas and continue picking up chunk plays both by running the football and throwing the ball, the LSU Tigers simply won't be able to keep up offensively. This Tigers offense leaves plenty to be desired and is averaging just 20 points in SEC play. That's not going to cut it. Give me the Texas A&M Aggies to go into Death Valley, win this game, get the cover, turn some heads, and put a fork in the LSU Tigers season. Texas A&M -2.5 points, -110. From LSU, we're going to go to Iowa State, where the Cyclones are coming off a bye, hosting the BYU Cougars. Look, much like LSU, I simply don't think this Iowa State team is as good as people want to believe it is. They've dropped 2 games in a row, most recently to a underwhelming Colorado Buffalo side, and now yes, they're coming off a bye, but they're already behind the 8 ball in the Big 12. The Cougars are an elite team. They're not getting enough respect in the polls or by bettors. I think they're going to be a problem for this Iowa State Cyclones side. The Cougars do everything well. They can run the football, ranked 10th in the country. They're averaging over 200 yards passing per contest, and they are north of 35 points per game. What about the defense, you ask? Well, they are top 20 in total yards allowed and passing yards allowed, and are only giving up 15.6 points per game. This is an elite team that people need to start taking seriously. Given how important the quarterback position is in the college ranks, I'm happy to take Bear Bachmeier over Rocco Beck any day of the week, including twice on Saturdays. I'm not overthinking this one. Yes, I know the ranked team is on the road catching points against an unranked opponent, but BYU is the better team from top to bottom, and I think they make a statement here. Keep your points. Give me BYU on the money line, +125. From the weekend gridiron, we're going to go back to Friday's hardwood slate in the NBA, which means it's time for hardwood handles. To kick off Friday's edition of Hardwood Handles, we're going to be back at the Milwaukee Bucks on the money line at +100 over the Toronto Raptors. Look, tip of the cap to the Toronto Raptors by putting up 138 points on the Atlanta Hawks, winning by 20 as 6-point underdogs. That's great. They looked great, but let's be real. The Hawks, they're a problem. The Raptors will not have that same success against a good Milwaukee side, and I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. The Bucks are a deep team. 7 guys played 20-plus minutes in the opener, with 7 guys hitting double digits in scoring. The depth will give the Raptors fits, and Giannis should be able to dominate on the interior against Jakob Poeltl. No disrespect to him. I think this line is a major overreaction from what we saw in the first game, and I'm not willing to trust the Raptors that they are in fact a good team. I'll take the proven regular season performers here, so give me the Bucks on the money line, +100. And finally, the last game of the NBA slate, we're going to be taking the Orlando Magic -4.5 points, -110 over the Atlanta Hawks. Look, speaking of the Hawks, we're going to fade them in this spot versus the Magic. They looked absolutely out of sync on both ends of the court in their opener versus the Raptors, and now have to face a Magic side who I believe are a serious player in the Eastern Conference. The Magic have a matchup advantage across the board, and if Trae Young found the sledding tough for Scotty Barnes, he's going to be in for another long night with Desmond Bane. I'm not going to overthink this one. I'm going to take the better, the deeper, the more complete team here on their home court to boot. Let's lay the points with the Magic at -4.5, -110. That wraps up Friday's edition of the Game Day Grind. Thank you guys so much for watching. To recap our bets quickly, we're going to take the Toronto Blue Jays +1.5 on the run line. We're taking Blake Snell under 6.5 strikeouts. On the ice, we're taking the Capitals, Blue Jackets under 6.5 goals. We're taking the Jets on the money line. We're taking the Toronto Maple Leafs on the money line. In college football for tomorrow's slate, we are taking BYU on the money line. We're taking the Texas A&M Aggies -2.5 points. And on tonight's hardwood, we are taking the Orlando Magic -4.5 points and the Milwaukee Bucks on the money line +100. Leave a comment if you guys are tailing, fading or have any best bets you're making for Friday's slate. Drop a like on the video if you guys are enjoying the content. Subscribe if you're new around here. I do not want you to miss on any great things we got going forward. We'll catch you all on Monday, same time, same place, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Game Day Wagers YouTube channel. As always, keep grinding and good luck.